Sometimes, childhood can be a magical time if you have the right family. This little girl found a secret room in her house, and then she got an even bigger surprise. Emily had a sparkle in her eyes that only a child filled with adventure could have. She had found something shocking while doing chores, something she could never have imagined. The day started like any other, but she didn't know that it was a day that was years in the making. Emily really wanted snacks from the store, but at 6 years old, she knew that she had to do simple chores to get any pocket money. The money she had earned from feeding the dog was already gone, so she needed to find a way to get some more. She asked her parents if they had any chores for her, and she didn't see them giving each other a strange look. They said that they might have something for her to do. She just had to ask her grandmother if she could clean up the storage chest. Her Nana wanted to see what they found in the storage box, and she came with them to watch. Emily didn't know why they would all watch her do her chores, but she was happy to spend time together. Cleaning out a chest filled with all sorts of little things can be pretty fun. Emily just didn't know what to do with all the things she took out. Her dad, George, said that he would take them off her hands. She just needed to hand him each thing that she pulled out. With every piece that she pulled out, she was excited. It meant that she was closer to getting everything out of the box and getting her money. They promised that she would get enough money to pay for her favorite candy. George even promised to walk to the corner shop with her. The thought of all that deliciousness made her work even quicker. She pulled out a few old doorknobs and other door hinges. She couldn't understand why they kept all these dirty things, but she was happy that she could clean them up now. And even happier that these old things were going to earn her money. It was all the things they saved when they renovated the house. But Emily didn't know that. She wasn't even born when her parents bought this old house and lovingly restored it. George and his wife Alice actually bought the house because they wanted to start a family. It had plenty of room for her mother and their future child. Emily's parents loved the house, but it was very run down, and they fixed it up before starting a family. They took out everything from the chest, and there was only one more thing left at the bottom of the storage box. It looked strange, something that Emily had only ever seen in movies. She reached out her hand and carefully pulled out the piece of paper. Then she showed her dad. She wanted to make sure that what she was seeing was real. He asked her what it was, and she replied that it was a treasure map. It looked really old. There were even pieces missing that were burned away from the map. Emily hoped that it didn't contain any important pieces that she needed to find the treasure. Emily was convinced that it would lead to loads of money. It looked like she would get a lot more than just one piece of candy. But first, they had to figure out where the map was taking them. There were a few words written on the map. Emily was only learning to read, but there were a few words she knew. She knew her name and surname, and she also knew her parents' and Nana's names. But the longest sentence she knew was her own address. She checked out the map, and she had to make sure she understood. The letters were written in a fancy way, so Emily struggled to understand it right away. But then she figured out that the words were showing her address. They wouldn't have to search all over England to find out where the map was taking them. It was showing them that the treasure was right there in her own house. But where would the map be taking them? They went to the step to place the map on the step. It showed them where the spot was hidden. She looked at the map, and her parents showed her another room on the map. The map was turned the wrong way. She needed to turn it to fit into the footprint of the house. Luckily, her dad was there to help her figure it out. The pirates that Emily was sure left it there weren't completely clear on the way it should be turned. But Emily and George figured it out together. Looking at the map from there, things became clear. The treasure was marked to be in her room, but Emily had lived in that room her entire life. She had never seen any hidden treasure before. How could it be hidden there without Emily ever finding it? She wasn't sure, but that wasn't going to stop her from searching for it. Her parents warned her that the pirates might have taken their treasure back. But nothing was going to stop the little girl from dreaming big. She went into the room and looked at the map again. The map showed her room very clearly. She could see her bed and her dresser, and next to it, the map showed a big spot where the treasure was supposed to be. She kept walking all around the dresser, but there was nothing there, just her wall. She was disappointed and confused. How could this old map know exactly how her room looked, but not lead her to a special treasure? Then, her father asked her if the wall was all the same. How would she know? By thumping the wall with her fist, of course. If it sounded strange from one spot to the next, then there might be something hiding in there. She hit the wall with her fist all over, but she wasn't really sure what she was listening for. George was there to help her out. He hit the wall with his fist and let her listen. One spot sounded very hollow. Why was that so different from the rest? Was there something behind it? It was very exciting, but how could Emily get her wall open? She was contemplating all the many ways that they could open the wall. One of them was just cutting a hole in the wall. Her grandmother was quick to say that Alice might not love that idea. Cutting holes in their home did not sound like a great idea, but the girl had sound reasoning. If there was a lot of money hiding behind the wall, then her mom would be happy that they found it. They couldn't argue with that. Even Alice had to agree. If the pirates hid loads of money in the wall, then they had to check. It was all down to George. He had to get his angle grinder to cut a door into the wall. It was exciting. Emily sat with her mother and Nana on her bed and dreamt about everything that they could do with the piles of money they were likely going to find very soon. Emily had plenty of ideas on what to do. The money was in her room, and it was her map after all. So, she got the biggest say on what to do. She believed that they should use the money to go to Disneyland. It would be the most exciting thing to do with it, but first they had to find it. But she would never have expected what she did find. Her father cut a small door out of the wall, but didn't open it. That would be Emily's privilege. They all filmed, wanting to catch the magical moment when she opened the newly cut door. But it didn't quite go according to plan. She opened the little door, and she was shocked. There was an entire hidden room behind the door. It was so cute, and there was so much she could do with it. For many of us, finding a hidden room in your house is a fantasy. The only way it could get better would be if it was hiding behind a bookcase. But it wasn't all that she had imagined. She thought she would find a room full of money. It wasn't. The room was empty, or so she thought. She would soon find an even bigger surprise. It had been an incredible day and a wonderful adventure that the girl would remember forever, despite being so young and not finding what she imagined. How had this wonderful adventure begun? It started a lot longer ago than Emily could ever have imagined. When George and his wife had started to renovate the house, they knew which room they wanted to keep for their future child. Or, should I say, which 2 rooms they wanted to keep for their baby. Their favorite space was a room with a small attached space next to it. They restored their home and made it beautiful. The last room that was left to decorate was the baby's room, and the timing was perfect. They were starting to plan out the room when they found out that they were going to have a baby. It was incredibly exciting. George had always promised himself that his children would have a magical childhood. His parents were very strict and unimaginative. They never let him believe in anything magical. It was only when he met Alice and her mother that he saw how amazing it could be to see the magic in different moments. He heard stories from Alice's childhood that made him jealous. It was so different from his own upbringing. He wanted his children to have the room to have a wild imagination and have fun while they were young. So, when he found out that he was going to be a father, he started planning how he could bring that magic into his child's young life. He was looking at ways to set up the baby room and looking at the smaller connecting room, and that was when a brilliant plan hit him. A hidden room in his daughter's room could be an amazing find. Alice wasn't as sure they could cut off this space for a few years. Wouldn't it make more sense to use it? But George was so passionate about the project that she decided to go with it. He set up the room with a special surprise, and then he sealed it up. Then they decorated the open part of the room. Their daughter was born months later, and she never knew about the secret her room was hiding. Time went on, and now it had been 7 years since they closed up the room. It was time to put this plan he had so many years ago into action. It was still George's plan, and he did the rest of the planning he needed to create this incredible surprise. He had to make an awesome map. The girl had to believe that the pirates left it for her, so it had to be old. He wrote the map and address on the paper, and then he used tea to stain the paper brown. Then he placed the paper in the oven to dry and used a matchstick to burn some of the edges and even holes inside it. The map looked perfect and they hid it in the storage box. It was ready the next time when Emily was looking for something to do. Nana wanted to see how she would react, and they had to make sure that Emily called her too. George was as excited as a little kid himself. He couldn't wait to see the experience through his daughter's eyes. Now, he was excited to see her face when she opened the little door he cut into her wall. But it wasn't quite what he dreamt of. The girl went through the little door, and her face fell. There was nothing in the little secret room that she found. She had visions of rooms full of money, but that wasn't what this was. The little girl found a secret room in her house. Then, she got an even bigger surprise. George told her to look closer, and that was when she saw it. A tiny little treasure chest next to the wall. She giggled from excitement, and it was a great sound for her father to hear. It was so amazing to see her get excited about the little box. She couldn't wait to open it up. And the surprise was awesome. She had gold doubloon earrings, obviously from the pirates leaving it there. And she had loads of other cute pieces of jewelry. It wasn't a whole room filled with money, but she was very happy with her haul. She just wanted to clean up the little treasure chest for her to keep forever. She also received her pocket money and got to go and buy her favorite treat too. It was a pretty great day. Soon after, she started to get excited about the new room she had to play with. They created an amazing playroom and library in the smaller space. She had bookcases and rugs to play on. But even better, she had an incredible memory that she would cherish forever. And that is priceless. Thanks for watching. Join us again for even more amazing stories.